Hi, I'm Cheryl, and today I have this nice Father's Day card to share. Of course, if you switched out the sentiment, it could become a really nice masculine birthday card or even a thank you card. You'd have to switch that out too, but definitely a nice Father's Day or birthday card for a guy who's the car enthusiast. And this is what we're going to need for this card. I have some silver foil paper, and this is 3.5 by 3.5. I have a piece of basic black, and that's 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. That will mat our piece of foil. In my card, I used some foil paper that was already embossed, and I used this paper pack. I found it on Amazon. It has a lot of nice embossed foils in different colors. But on this card, we're going to emboss it with an embossing folder that's made by this Darice company, and it looks like like steel plate. So we're going to emboss our own. So let me put that with my foil. Then we actually have 2 pieces of cherry cobbler, and this is 6.5 by 4.5. One for the outside, and then one for on the inside of the card. And then I have some white, Whisper White thick, the thick cardstock. That's what our car will be stamped on and then cut out from. And then I have just plain Whisper White on the inside, and that's 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. So we'll have a mat on the inside, we'll have a mat on the outside, and with the cherry cobbler. And then we also need, let's see, we need a nice big piece of foil here to cut our gears out with. And we'll use Geared Up Garage Bundle. So you have this die here that cuts the gears out and embosses them. We're going to be using this die also to cut our car out. And in the stamps we'll use, of course, the car. And then All Geared Up to Celebrate, that goes on the front. Then I used Happy Father's Day from Heartfelt Creations, the thank you sentiments. And it has on the father's part, it has like just like little cross hatches in it. It's not solid, so it's kind of interesting and nice for this card. I'll be using my Stamparatus to stamp that. And what else? What else do we need? We need light and dark cherry cobbler for our car, and this is Pool Party, light Pool Party, the Stampin' Blend markers. We're using those, and the Spectrum Noir sparkle pen, and this is crystal clear. And here's my one little stamp I'm going to use for the front. They're all geared up to celebrate. I have scissors out here because we're going to cut our tag, the little tag on the front, with the scissors. And I have Tombow glue, and I also have the Art Glitter Dries clear glue. And I didn't get out a piece of the foam to pop the car up. Let's see what I've got in here. I have pretty much everything like right within reach. Okay, so we're going to use the thin craft foam to pop the car up just a little. If you don't have the thin craft foam, then you could use, use like thin cardboard, like from a cereal box or something. We could do that. You know what? Let's do that. Let's use up my little bit of my salvaged, reclaimed paper for this. So let's see. I think I want to stamp the car first. So let me take this stamp out. I need to put my foam in here. Let me get that in the frame here. And you notice I have another little piece of craft foam right here. I always keep that in there, even when I'm using the cling stamps that have the rubber stamps with the foam on the back of them. Because when you get right around the edges here, it can not give you a good impression because it doesn't quite get smushed down on your paper well enough. So I always keep this in here, and we don't need that, do we? Because the car is one of the cling stamps. So let me get that out. And where's my bit of paper? There we go. There's my paper. Just stick that in there like so. Use my magnet. And put my car right there. And yes, I do use scrap paper. I keep all my scraps that I think will be usable again. Here's my white. This is all my white pieces. You see? And I keep it in, because I have so many white ones, they get their own. But for my colored cardstocks, I keep my my full sheets of cardstock in these are job ticket folders that I got on Amazon. And then in the front here, here's all my bits that are not full sheets. That way, if I just need a little piece of it, I can look in my scraps and find a little piece rather than cutting a full sheet of paper. Okay, so we're going to use, and we're using Memento Tuxedo black ink for this. I'm going to ink this up real good. I see some people do this. They wiggle it like this. I usually just dot it on like that, but today I felt like wiggling it on the stamp. Let's see how that looks. Hey, that's pretty good, but the tires look like they could use to be a little darker. So I'm going to ink that up again. This ink pad gets a lot of use. If you notice, I have old on here because I have a new one that I haven't started using yet. I've been using this one for, geez, it's been years. I think my tires, I'm just going to ink up the tires. And I want them darker. Okay, that looks good now. So let me get this out of here. Oh, I do need a little piece of from my scraps here. So that I will stamp with the, I'm just going to lay it on here. Then it has a nice little cushion. I'm going to stamp that with the All Geared Up to Celebrate. And right there, 1, 2, 3. And oh, I got one of those little halos. I always think of them as dog ears. I don't know why. Let me try this again. 1, 2, 3, and there we go. That looks good. That's a nice impression there. I'll put that aside. And let's stamp our Happy Father's Day also while we're stamping. This is also giving my Memento Tuxedo Black ink on the card time to dry. And let's see, I want to make sure I have it right side up here. And it's meant to go, I think, at an angle like this. That's how they show it on the front of the package. But I'm straightening it out so that Father's Day is straight. Or that Father's, the part that says Father's is straight. I'll just pick this up with my lid here. And oh, look at that. I don't know if you can see the grids, but it's way crooked. So I know I want it right about here, so I'm just going to adjust this using the grids to line that up and straighten it. There we go. I seem to have lost my magnet. Oh, there it is, way up here. And is it not centered very well either? I'm going to move it over a little bit. Let's see how that looks. Okay, that's good. That looks like it's centered nice here, kind of towards the top. Just where I want it. So we'll ink that up. And stamp that. 1, 2, 3. See how that came out. That could use a little more ink, especially on the part that says Fathers. So I'll do this again. That's what's so nice about these stamp positioners, is that you can just re-ink it as many times as needed. A little bit on the H there, I think, right in the center of the stamp. And yep, as many times as I need to, I can just re-ink it over and over, and it goes exactly right back in the same place. I could never have lined it up this well doing it by hand with a stamp block. This seems like, these stamp positioners seem like a luxury item, but really, oh, I got some black on here. Look at that. Well, let's see. See if we can get rid of that. I have, let me see if my plain eraser will help get rid of it. It's taken some of it off. There's another type of eraser. It's a gray sanded eraser that works even better, but you have to be a little bit careful with that, because it's like it says, it's sanded. It has like a grit in it, and it can really destroy your paper quickly. But my little art gum eraser seems to be doing a pretty good job. It's certainly not nearly as noticeable to have the ink on my fingers. Okay, so we've got that. And since we have that done, let's put that together and put that on the inside of our card. I'm going to use my Tombow. Oh, I should use up my old one. I have an old one, and you can see by all the smudgy on it that it's well used and well loved. I'm getting down to the bottom of it though, so I am gonna have to replace it soon. I always try to keep like one full Tombow glue around, or any of my things that I use. Once I start this one, then I'll order another one, so I always have one that's not been used at all yet, and I'm sure I will not run out. There we go. Get that. And put that on the inside. Just center that all the way around. Nice. Okay, so I'll keep these together because I need those together. So let's see. Let's color the car in. And let me stack up some stuff here. Well, I'm not going to move my camera. Every time I move my camera, I have a hard time getting it back into place again. Oh, no, that's not good. I'm going to have to move my camera closer. Okay, hold on. Okay, that's a little bit better, and I'll try to keep my hands out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. But basically, I'm going to start out with my light cherry cobbler, and I'm going to color in all the car parts, not the grill. Okay, that's the grill and the headlights. So I'm going to go around the headlights here. And the fender. And right under here. So all that other part there, that's going to stay white. And this is with the light color. And around the rear view mirror. My original, I tried not to do the handle, but you know what? It was just too hard to do. So I'm just going to do the color that right over the handle. There we go. You hear the jingling in the background. My dog Pearl is assisting today. I probably should have used the bullet part side. There's a smaller side on these I should have used. Oops, sorry. I bumped the camera. Now I'm going to go back in with my dark cherry cobbler, and there's places right on the stamp that have shading on them. And that's where I'm going to add my shading. Back here. And I think I'm going to add a little bit more, just right along the top edge here. And on the sides of the hood. And a little bit down the bottom here. That'll give it a little bit of shape. Okay. Well, normally I would go back and forth a lot of times, but I'm just going to go one more time with my light cherry cobbler, and just all along there. I'm just going to go right over just everything, just to blend it a little bit. Really doesn't need a whole lot of blending. Okay. Then I'll use my my light pool party. Got a little blue, this blue in the window here where it's got the shading already shown. You can see there. And it's just a little touch of blue. I'll do that just a little bit on the headlights too. And that's it. That's all the coloring we're doing on this. But we are going to go, I am going to use my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen. And I'm going to go over all the red, all the whole car except for the tires. I'm going to do the inside of the tires here, the wheels. And when I was a kid, the people that were so interested in redoing old cars and making like hot rods out of them, there was a paint type. It was called Metal Flake. So that was a very popular type of paint to use. I don't know if they still use that or not, but it looked like it just had glitter in the paint. It was very pretty. So that was my thought here, is to sparkle up the car a little bit. Okay, so I have some things I need to cut out. I'm gonna also I'll also run my foil through my embossing folder here, and then when I'm done visiting with Mr. Big Shot, we'll be right back. Okay, so I have my bits cut out and my embossing done. I wanted to share some little tips with you. When you're cutting images out like this, even if you have a magnetic platform, it's a real good idea to use a bit of low-tack tape of some sort to hold your die in place, because it still can shift. It's not quite so important with the gears, but the one thing I wanted a little tip, when you're using foil paper, it's usually, if you try to use your die brush and roll out all your little bits, there's a good chance you're going to put marks on your foil paper. So don't do that. If you have any bits in there that need to come out, like I just picked this little piece out, either just poke them out with your fingernail, or you know, a pokey tool or a pin, something like that, to avoid marring your foil paper. And then for the embossing on this piece, make sure that the name Darice is showing on the front. Otherwise, you will deboss. So you want the part where you can feel where all these little things are. You want them to be able to feel that they're down on the top one, and you should be able to feel that they're sticking up on the bottom one. Okay, but just as easy, make sure that the name Darice is on the top. Okay, we're almost ready to start putting the card together. I'm just going to use scissors. I'm going to leave myself a little room here on either side of this this sentiment. I'm just cutting it out with scissors. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, then use a die, or not, use a paper trimmer. But I'm just going to cut it out with scissors. I'm bold like that. Larger scissors than this even is actually ideal, but I didn't have a good pair of large scissors. And I'm just going to cut these ends here at an angle, and make sure that you want them to be the same on both sides here. And there's our little sentiment for on the front. So let's put the card together. Get in all my little papers here. Let's start with this. And I'll use my Tombow. A lot of people like to use tape runners. I especially prefer using Tombow on any pieces that might need to be adjusted. Gives you just a couple extra seconds of wiggle room to get things lined up. And when you're embossing something like this, you don't want to be running a tape runner over it and squishing down all that nice embossing that we've done. So I've got that together. You know what? I'm going to put Tombow on the back of this. I'm going to set that aside for a little bit. I'm going to let that dry. At least a little bit anyway. And just putting it anywhere I could find a decent place to put some glue. Not getting the whole thing. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I'm going to set that aside, let that dry a bit. And we can move on. Let's see. Car. We want to put the car on. We want that popped up a little bit. So I'm going to just take some of my... There we go. We only need a little piece here. And I'm just going to put my car on here. And I'll just kind of just cut around the outside of it. And down on the bottom here. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to trim some more off. Okay, so all those little bits are scrap now. I'm just going to go all around and cut about I don't know how much that is, about a 32nd of an inch, a 16th of an inch. We just want to make sure that it doesn't show when we put it on the back of our car. And let's check that just to make sure. That looks pretty good to me. So we'll glue that down. Put some glue on there. Am I in frame? I'm not even in frame, am I? Let me work out here a little further. So we'll glue that piece down. And then we'll glue that onto this piece. And I have it down like just below halfway. Okay, so about here would be halfway, so like the top of the car is halfway, and then centered side to side. So I've got that on there. That's all ready to go. And I'm going to glue down my piece of cherry cobbler on the front. I'm going to center that on the front of the card. And I think my writing on here is going to show, so I'm going to take my eraser and erase at least part of it. There we go. Okay. Next come the gears. We've got these over on the side. I was letting the Tombow glue dry just a little bit. I'm going to put them right down this side of the card. I have them a little bit higher up. So they're a little bit more towards the top here. And then next will come this assembly here. You know what? My car need to adjust my car a little bit. There we go. I was trying to make it straight with the bottom, but that's not right. It should be excuse me. It should be at a little bit of an angle this way. Just the way it's made, the stamp is made. So I'm gonna opened up my new Tombow. I want to use up all of this first, though. There we go. So that will go on the card. I'll line that up, top and bottom, an equal amount on this edge. Okay, so it's about a half an inch. Okay, and it does cover up the gears a little bit. That's why we had to put them down first. And then we're going to put our all geared up to celebrate sentiment on. And we'll just put some glue on the back there. I have that at just a little bit of an angle. And there we go. Our card is finished. So if you've liked this card, then be sure to hit that like button down there. There's a like button down there. There's a subscribe button there too. If you'd like to see more of my videos, then of course hit that subscribe button. And then too, there's a little bell that comes up after you've hit the subscribe. And if you hit that, it'll notify you when I post new videos. I know, right? How convenient is that? If there are any Stampin' Up! Products that you'd like to purchase, that'd be wonderful if you used me as your demonstrator. And you can do that if you go either to my Facebook page or my blog. There's a shop button, a shop now button. And if you can click on that, it'll take you right to Stampin' Up! And I should show up as your demonstrator as long as you're in the United States anyway. So that would be lovely if you did that. And as always, all of the tools and materials I used, that'll be down below there too. If you have any questions or comments, leave them and I'll get back to you. And that's it for today. So you all take care, stay safe, and happy stamping.